All right. Welcome to my online webinar for manufactured housing and real estate. The little disclaimer that I have to do once we get started is that in the next couple of hours, I'm going to show you what are the real examples of manufactured housing, what is this world about, and the intent that I have is to create my own organization and eventually have people that work with me, not for me. That's a huge difference. So if you don't feel like this is going to be something that will be your bread and butter or your go-to, that's fine. As long as we can even just share a referral, that's fine. And if you have any future things coming up, just remember that I'm here. All right, let's dig in. So let's talk about mobile homes, aka manufactured houses. So let's start with a little bit of history because in order to see where we're going, we want to make sure that we know where we're coming from. So let's dig in with a little bit of history. These are the first mobile homes. Okay, this is in the 1920s. They came up with these concepts, these ideas of RVs, and they were mostly for camping. So it was pure recreational and had no intent to be seen as a permanent housing. It was just like for leisure. So after World War I, what happened is that in this country we experienced a very strong economy, and after the war, basically the camping, the leisure aspect of the manufactured housing of the mobile homes were booming at the point that there were like a lot of manufacturers and the competition was kind of feisty, but for some reason the trailer adventure was not meant to stay for a long time because during World War II, what happened is that they have to um, basically the materials were not available, so they had to restrict the manufacturer from building this type of housing that was not even meant to be a housing, and that's where the stigma began because there was a huge need for social work for the workers for the war for the soldiers. So the government was ordering thousands of these trailers, but the manufacturer, the industry was not prepared for that kind of demand. And so what happened is that the final product was really low quality. And when they found themselves into this type of housing that were not meant to be as a permanent housing, and they were kind of in a situation where they had to live in this housing, that's when everybody starts to say, "Oh, traders, they're bad." The bad reputation essentially started with this. The product was really bad. The material used were not so good, and it was in front of everybody. Then in the 50s, we have what in the industry we call the golden age, because as you can see, these are like the first designs that are basically creating the basis for, what are the mobile homes today. A single wide can be easily identified like this one. But so they start to boom for real because that's where the concept of permanent housing starts to get instilled into this type of housing. Now, in the 60s, there was a big evolution. As you can see, they are still trailers. They're not considered RVs anymore. But yeah, they had like a full kitchen. They have a lot of big square footage. And what you see on the right is a 1968, and I've been lucky enough in my career to see one of these in a mobile home park here in Vegas, and it was something else. It was really something else. But they're very nice. The housing was establishing a standard for a good, affordable living. And then what happened is that in the 70s, we have another big revolution. So you see, this is a 1970, and they actually have the functionality of a real house without being a real house. So even though it's a manufactured house, you see that's like a 1968. Um, but they were adopting new materials. In 1976, the code get created. So the Housing Urban Development Agency defined the code and established that, for example, the lead-based paint can no longer be used, and like copper pipes were toxic, so the manufacturer were not allowed to use those anymore. And in the 70s, it's when the whole new code and new concept basically became effective. So that's what I was saying. In 1976, the Congress passed the National Mobile Home Construction and Safety Act. This was necessary to hold the industry to a higher standard and ensure that mobile homes were safer and better made. Because, like I said, the first big stigma is coming after World War II, where the material were poor and the final product was really bad. So they create a code, and in the code there is everything specified, even how tall the steps needs to be when the house is sitting on the ground. And so they specified that how they needs to be transported, the equipment and the procedures that needs to be followed in order to transport a mobile home. And in 1980, so it's not too far in time, the Congress passed the bill that says they cannot be called mobile homes anymore, but they need to be called manufactured housing. Obviously, you can create any sort of bill, any sort of paperwork, but in the everyday common people, and me too, keep calling them mobile homes because they are actually transportable. They are mobile. It doesn't mean you turn the engine on and drive them away, but they are mobile. And so they keep calling them mobile home. Today, there is a distinction between manufactured housing and mobile homes, but we're going to take a look at it a little later. So we say that in after World War II, that's where the stigma began because there are poor material. Do you think that this stigma somehow is still there or not? Let's see. Who knows this movie? All right, 8 Miles. If you watch the movie in this mobile home park, there are like really criminals. It's like a lot going on in this park, and so they associate mobile home living with bad people. Now we all know this movie. If you don't, it's Lethal Weapon number 2, I guess. Yes. So again, it gives the idea that living in a trailer or a mobile home is it's basically bad living. And finally, this guy here, this is Ready Player One. These are all manufactured houses or mobile homes stacked one on top of the other, where only poor people can live in this because they cannot afford any other type of housing. So, is the stigma true? Yes. Does it have a reason to be there? Yes and no, because it's true that there are like houses in really bad shape, but it's also true that there are very beautiful mobile homes, double wides that have nothing to envy to stick built house, single families that are gorgeous, brand new materials. Some of those come out directly with the solar panels on the roof. The plumbing is way better because if you have any issue, the plumber just needs to crawl underneath and fix the issue. Versus with a regular house, what happens is that they need to destroy the wall, find a leak, rebuild the floor or the wall. So the stigma is right and wrong at the same time. Now let me show you something about this. This is a 1971. From the outside, you see like this is really bad housing. Not too bad for a 1971, right? Brand new floor, fresh painted on the walls. Let's take a look outside. All right, so we have a driveway where you can park two cars on this side. Then you have a nice little shed with window over the is. And you have a very nice backyard with a brand new AC, a nice fence outside. So as you can tell, the housing is not too bad, right? And is possibly even better than some really bad houses or condos that are in completely neglected state. Let's take a look at this other one. This is a 1995. In this case, you also own the land. Has been converted to real property. And I will tell you later how to do that. But yeah, you own the house and the land. Let's see. This is granite countertops. There are sheetrocks on the wall, so these are not just the bed panels that you see on the regular mobile housing, manufactured housing. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's take a look at the last one. Let's see how bad it is. This is a 2022. Walls are 3/4 of an inch. Double insulation between the walls and the ceiling. Table with quartz and countertop with quartz as well. They're all granite. Stainless steel appliances. Almost 1,400 square feet. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Now we all know that what sells the most is the kitchen and the bathrooms. Take a look at this kitchen. You have an open environment. That's the table, dining table. You got the island with the quartz table, living room. Not too bad. All right. So this is a 2022, the year that this mobile home was built. Now, let's take a look at like some of the numbers. We all know that affordable housing is the most needed housing in the USA. There's been a huge development in over 100 years of manufacturing houses. Just so you know, in 2024, the revenue that this industry generated was almost $12 billion and gave employed 51,863 people. There are 781 businesses globally in the industry and is growing. So the IBIS World, which is a reporting agency, say that between 2025 and 2030, the market is growing. And obviously is growing because there's a lot of need for affordable housing. Now let's take a look at what are the biggest players that we have in the industry. Here we are, our good old friend Warren Buffett with Berkshire Hathaway. He bought Clayton, which is a manufacturer of mobile homes, and Clayton acquired 21st Mortgage, which is the first company that started to give affordable housing loans, even though the manufactured houses were not converted to real estate. So this revenue here is coming out of a financial and manufacturing point of view from the business, and they are the number one in volume for this reason. Does that mean that they are also the best one? Not necessarily, but we're going to talk about that. The second one, Cavco, my favorite number, number one manufacturer for me, for what I feel they are. They acquired in 2007 another manufacturer that is called Fleetwood. They were pretty famous for RVs and trailers, so they brought expertise and knowledge into the on the table. One coming from the manufactured housing, one coming from trailers and RVs, and to me they are the best product among with like Skyline. They are really good, Skyline and Champion, but to me Capco is the best. So let's take a look at the definitions. That's what I was mentioning before. We have mobile homes and manufactured homes. The main difference, besides the fact that here there is a 320 square feet or more, so just like to say the size matter, but besides that, the mobile home can be built without following the manufactured housing code, the SAFE Act that was established in 1976. And this is basically the major difference. You can build, buy, or sell mobile homes, but they cannot be converted to real property and they will never qualify, even if you attach them to the land, they can never qualify for conventional FHA or VA loans. In order to do that, it has to be a manufactured house that follow the code, the Safety Act. Then we have the recreational trailer, which is what we call the fifth wheeler, just like the one that you attached to that is attached to the trailer to the pickup, and you can just go. And then we have the motorhome, which is the one that you turn the engine on and start driving it. All right. So what do they look like? We've been talking modular mobile homes. We've been talking about manufactured housing. That's what they look like. This is a recreational trailer or fifth wheeler here on the left. Then we have the motorhome or RV, and these are mobile homes or manufactured houses, more correct. A mobile home can look like this, but again, it doesn't follow the code. It doesn't have the same um, regulation that a manufactured house has. So, with that being said, where do we find this housing? Like when can we take a look at it? So these are RV parks. The peculiarity of this one is that you can park your trailer here for not more than 90 consecutive days. Then, according to the Nevada and especially here in Clark County, you have to leave. You cannot use it as a permanent housing. So the trailer has to be temporary housing. It's for leisure. Then you have mobile home parks, way more famous. This particular setup is in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, on Las Vegas Boulevard, and Cheyenne, I think, if I remember well. So yeah, the way it works, you own the house, but you are gonna rent the land. So it's outside. I mean, looking from the outside, it looks like a single family residential house, but you do not own the land. And so you can move you are the owner of the house essentially. So you are paying the community, you are paying the park for the lease of the land and for the access to the amenities like the pool, the clubhouse, if they have tennis courts, whatever. And then we have freestanding homes. So it looks like exactly like a mobile home park, but you own the land and the house. So in this case, you can convert it to real property because you own the house and the land. There is a bunch of these all over the county. It's not specifically in one spot. The goal, if you want to buy the land and move it on your own lot, then you can convert it. So, who is this guy that is talking to you? Why you're listening to this guy? A little bit about me. I started in 2016, and as these like Chinese philosophers say, a journey of 1,000 miles begin with a single step, and that's what I did. I started with a single step, and in 2016, I was coming out of a completely different experience. I was a store manager at Radio Shack, and Radio Shack, we all know that it went down really bad, pretty fast. So here I am. I don't know what to do. I start driving for Uber, and I was just making a living again until I got caught into this fabulous deal. I was bouncing between ideas. What do I do? What can I do? A friend of mine was convincing me to open a vape shop. I was getting into vaping, understanding how it works, building the coils, setting up the store. I had experience as a retailer. And then, in order to look for money, finding partners, I stumbled upon real estate investors. I was told essentially, hey, if you show up with a good business plan, they might like it and they might fund your business. And I started to attend meetup groups, real estate meetup groups. And when I was presenting my business plan, one of these guys said, hey, you seem to be good at what you're doing. Why don't you start with us in real estate? And I said, well, but I don't know anything about real estate. I don't even know what I'm talking about. And so they were starting little by little to teaching me, I was grabbing with the eyes, stealing, ideas until one of these guys presented me with mobile homes investing. And obviously now today you can find investors everywhere, but this niche has always been smaller than the real estate universe. It is a big world and is growing because affordability. But at that time, it wasn't that popular, so there weren't too many investors, and none of them was like really savvy. So I found this deal on Craigslist. This guy said, "Hey, I'm gonna give away my mobile home for free." So I called the guy immediately and say, "Hey, I've seen I saw your ad on Craigslist. Is it true you're giving the mobile home away?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I want to sell my land and I want to sell it free and clear. That's why I'm giving away the mobile home for free. If you can move it out of my land, you can have it." And so I said, "Sure, no problem. That's totally doable." I had no idea what I was talking about. I didn't even know that they can be moved. So I met with the guy, we put it on a contract, and that's when the whole thing started. I had the house under contract and I had to move it out. So what do? I go into these mobile home parks and I start to talk to all these managers and I say, "Hey, I have a mobile home and I need a place to move it. Do you guys have any incentive if I move the mobile home in your park?" And most of them said, "No, we don't care. No, we don't know you." And this is the number one thing. If they don't know you, they most likely try not to do business with you. And that's the nature of the business. Now things are slightly changing, but at that time it was seen like all these people trying to ask for business. So these managers were kind of done, full of these people coming in at any given time. And most of the time, what happened is that the moment the investor buy the house, they were moving it to California, and so the mobile home park was losing business because they are only in business to collect the space rent from the owner of the house. If the house moves away, they don't have business. And so I show up in this senior community asking again the same question, and I say, "Hey, I have a mobile home. Do you have any incentives?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, sure. Let me talk to corporate, but I can move your mobile home for free if you sign a contract that you're not going to move it out for the next 7 years." So I said, "Oh, sure, let's do it, no problem." And so we signed a contract, and the guy hired the company to transport the mobile home. Now, if you see, there are like two fences and walls on both sides of the house. When the guy shows up with the truck to pull the house out, what happened is that instead of going all the way out of the walls and then turning, he started to turn too soon, so he damaged the back of the house. And so I was like really mad when the house arrived at the park, and I said, "Wow, see, I told you it was like too good to be true. Now here we are." But these guys obviously they need to have insurance. They want to keep the business from the parks. So what happened is that the guy said, "Hey, don't worry. I know it's my fault. I damaged the house. I'm gonna fix the house for free." So they fixed the house. They rebuilt this porch for free, and all I was left to do with it was painting the house and fix a little bit of the inside. I ended up selling this house for $25,000 at that time, and I sold it on terms. So I was making $350 per month without investing like basically nothing. I think I was into for like 2,500, something like that. And that's how everything started. From there, I saw that there was a lot of interest in this type of housing. I still had the idea, real estate. This is not real estate, not really real estate. But yeah, I jumped in. I became an agent for one of the dealer, one of the like longest experienced dealer in town, that it was actually based in Reno, not in Las Vegas. So after 2 years of dealing with buyers and sellers, he said, "Hey, every time that I come down here, it's gonna cost me a lot of money. So why don't you become my office manager?" Now, in real estate, you have the broker and the realtors. In mobile homes, you have the dealer, then you have the manager, and then you have the agents. The agents can only present the listing, they cannot do the closing. The dealer is the one that actually does the closing, just like a car. When you go to a dealer, you can basically become the owner of the car with the paperwork that he does and then transmit to the DMV. With mobile homes, I, as a dealer, can process the paperwork, transmit to the housing division, and from that moment on, you are the owner of that house. So I became a manager for the office. I hired different agents, so I started to train the agents. And these are the numbers that we did 2017. These are the payments that they made on the houses. So I was selling them on terms, meaning I was collecting out of these houses $4,271 every month. These are the interest or on top of the payments. So these are the total that they would pay, that the buyer would pay, or the buyers would pay at the end of the loan. So I took all these promissory notes and I went to sell them. And I sold these notes for $250,000. I was into for like 80, 90,000. So I made a profit of over $100,000. In 2018, that's when I started to do more cash deals and more listings. So these are all my flips for terms. So these are the one that I sold on terms by owner financing. And these are the one that I sold cash. All the other money that I was making was coming from the listings. And here we are. Like 2025, I got my dealer license, manufactured housing dealer license. With this license, it costed me about $30,000 to get this license. I can be a dealer for used mobile homes. And this is opening a door, a huge door, both for new and used, because a used mobile home has the meaning of the title has already been issued, but that doesn't mean that nobody lived in the house. So if I set up a brand new mobile home on any lot in a mobile home park or on a private lot, and I get the title, that mobile home is no longer new because I have the title. So the moment I sell it, it's a used mobile home. And I know new mobile homes dealer that can do that for me. And besides, in the next year, I'm on route to be a new dealer myself. So with this license, I can totally have agents. As per today, I have two. My goal is to get to five, possibly six, depending on several situations, alignment of planets that need to occur. But yeah, so this is the situation right now. I can hire agents, and the way I've done it, I became a realtor. So basically, I can have the best of both worlds, because if I stumble upon someone that has a mobile home and I don't have the license for mobile homes, I cannot touch it. I cannot sell it as a realtor because it's not attached to real property. If you sell the land where it happens to be a mobile home sitting on it, it's okay. But if it's in a mobile home park, you cannot do it as a realtor. As a manufactured housing agent, you can. Now we all know that on the MLS you can find these guys, these are the realtors that are trying to sneak in, but it's illegal. You're acting as a licensee without being licensed. So if you're not licensed for mobile homes and you put a mobile home in a park on the MLS, that's illegal. So what can we do with mobile homes? That's the big question, right? So we can do listings, and even though they are not as rich as real estate, they are fast. So in a typical listing, if the price is on right and everything is fine with the house, you can be in and out in less than 2 months. You can do flips in parks because the moment you start talking to these sellers, you might find people that are kind of desperate, or you might see that the manager of the park trusts you at the point that says, "Hey, I got this house for sale. It's like 5 grand, 10 grand," because their business is to collect the space rent, is not to make flips. These big corporations, they are not even merely organized to do flips, and they don't want the liability to do flips. So this is like completely open to everybody. But the MHD, the manufacturer housing division, says that as an individual, you cannot do flips with mobile homes without being licensed. Now, the license that they are talking about is the dealer license. If you are an agent, technically you are not a dealer, and so you cannot flip as an individual. It's kind of complicated, the situation, but yeah, if you own an LLC, that's different. You can be considered an investor, but still you need to go through a dealer in order to make the sale. And you as an agent is not sufficient. You as an agent, you can only be an agent if you have your license attached to a dealer. Then you can do flips with real estate. If you are a realtor like me, we can totally look for the deals that are out there. We buy a piece of land, we find an investors, we buy the piece of land, then we buy a mobile home, we move it on the land, convert it, and then we list it on the MLS ourselves. Now let's take a look at the listings. My dealership is set up in this way. When we list a house on behalf of someone, we charge $5,000. For the first 5 listings that you're gonna get, if you decide to work with me, 20% goes to the dealership, and the rest we do 50-50. Why this? Because I want to get a license for new mobile homes, and that costs $50,000. So I need to put money on the side. I don't mind investing again, but I need to recover this money somehow. So we get these $1,000 for the first time, for the first 5 listings, and then we do 50-50. After 12 listing, the split changes to 30% to the dealer and 70% to the agent. So starting the 13 listing on, the dealer gets 1,500 and the agent gets 3,500. This is only on the listing. Then we have the closing cost, but let's take a look. So the sales time on average is between 1 and 2 months. I've sold mobile homes without even having that yet because I have a buyers list. And so when you have a list of buyers that are waiting for you, the moment you get a listing is basically already sold. And I can teach you how to do that. But let's say 3 months is the maximum that we get out of the listing contract. It can be self-renewed, but we tend to be quick. Flips in parks, like that's what I was explaining you a few minutes ago. So you cannot do flips as a single individual. Needs to go through the dealer. And when you find the flips, that we are more than welcome to do flips together. That's the goal of building an organization. I don't want to necessarily call it a team, but because the legal definition of a team is different, I want to just call it an organization. We are a group of people that get together. We can work with mobile homes, we can work with real estate, and do any sort of flips, move the houses to California, build a mobile home park. We can do literally everything. What to do when you have a flip in a park? So as you can tell from this picture, I know how to use Photoshop. So I'm just kidding. So you want to have curb appeal. This one on the left shows really bad. So if you have a listing like this, you say, hey, you want to consider fixing it a little bit because it doesn't show bad. It doesn't show well at all. So you don't want to do too much, but you don't want to do too little. In this case, it's going to be a really hard sale. As soon as they see the house, when the one on the right, you say, hey, wow, this is good. It looks nice. Inside, this is not as expensive as it might look. You gotta first of all clean the whole thing, and then replace the flooring. Possibly put the sheetrock on the walls if it's not too bad shape. But see how it looks very nice. I sold this one for $55,000. Now, in this case, if you want to move it on land, we can buy a land for 80,000. Cost of the house 40 because we can buy cheap, obviously. Transportation and setup is 35. If you want to do a final touch, is 25,000. So all in, we spend 180, and we're gonna sell it hands down for 250. Like hands down. You can pull out the comps if you are already a realtor. Anywhere there is a manufactured housing converted, minimum is 250, and we make a profit of 70K. I don't know you, but I would love to do that many times. So, transportation, let's talk about it. The house needs to be prepared for the transportation. When they are sitting on the lot, they don't have wheels. And in order to do that, they install axles underneath, and the axles has the wheels. And when everything is ready, the house can go. All right, final check, green light. And there we go. Really fun. Once it arrives at destination, that's where the trouble begin, because it's not just, redelivering the house and that's it. It needs to be set up. So first of all, maneuvering with one of these is not easy. That's why they need a crew. See, there are 3 people in the back giving direction to the driver. It passed right next to the mailbox. You see it? Pretty cool, huh? The hard part, like I said, is not just the transportation, is the fact when the second module arrive and they need to put them one next to the other, rejoin the 2 modules. That's the hard part. It needs to sit on pistons, and then they need to relevel both modules as if they were one. Then they need to make sure that all the utilities are connected. They make sure that there are no leaks, for example, in the gas lines, in the water lines. So there is it's quite a process. These bars here needs to be removed. The axle needs to be removed once it's sitting on pistons. So it's quite a process, and that's why it costs a lot of money to move a mobile home. Anyway, so let's take another example. When we do a listing, we can only charge a commission to the seller. We cannot charge a commission to the buyer. So what we do, we charge closing cost. And where is this coming from? Let's say, for example, we want to use a title company and open an escrow account so that they can take care of the transaction and disburse the proceeds. How much they charge you? Between $1,000 and $2,000 just for that. And then we have to deal with a third party. In this case, I have a trust account with my dealership, so we can charge the closing costs to the buyer up to $4,000, but the average is 2,000. It depends on the buyer, and it depends on what they're buying. If they're buying a over $100,000 house, we can charge $4,000 for the closing costs, for the paperwork handling, everything. So if the owner is willing to do owner financing, we cannot just do owner financing and say, hey, okay, good, I'll see you next month so you can make the payment. We need to create the promissory note. We need to qualify the buyer. These are all cost. And we can charge up to $5,000 for the buyer that wants us to get the paperwork in place. Or they can split it up between the seller and the buyer. Now, I was mentioning before that there are other lenders. 21st Mortgage is the one for number one for volume. I definitely don't want to deal with 21st Mortgage. There's another one that is called Vanderbilt, and I don't want to deal with Vanderbilt either. And there is another credit union that it's really bad at what they do. So it's a lot of extra work that I have to put into as a dealer. There is a lot of frustration, aggravation, the way they react, the way they slowly react to requests and everything. So we can charge up to $3,000 for handling the lender paperwork. Sometimes these lenders, they put stuff in the contract and the officers are not even aware. Like, in order to sell this house, you need to have a written permission from the lender in order to put the house on the market. And that's 21st Mortgage. And if you talk to any of these guys, nobody knows how to give this written consent. They say, oh, don't worry, just go for it. But it's in the contract, so how can I just go for it? It's not like, oh, forget about it. I put it in the contract, but you can totally ignore it. That's not how it works. And then there is another lender that once you pay off the loan, let's say I got this listing. Let's say I find a buyer that pays cash. It goes into my trust account. I pay off the loan. I need a lien release. And that lien release, it took 3 months just to get it. The buyer was getting mad. I was getting mad. The lender simply doesn't react. They couldn't care less because they get their paycheck every every month. So after they receive the money, they are supposed to release the lien, like in terms of days, not 3 months. But anyway, so these are all splits that we do 50-50 between dealer and agent. So if you are thinking about coming on board in my dealership, keep in mind that you have like to charge $5,000 to the seller for the listing. And we know how that goes, like 20% for the first five listings, and then we do 50-50. So let's say 2,500 on average. And on top of those, you charge $2,000 in closing costs. That's 50-50. So we do 3,500 each. All right, so that's how it goes. Now, there are more than 100 mobile home parks in Vegas, and the average is 100 lots per park. Now, there are some parks that have 20, some other they have 40, some other they have 500. There are plenty of business to be made with these parks. So the market is 10,000 lots in the mobile home parks that we can just do flips pretty fast. So how many listings can you get? Of course, it depends on how much time are you planning to invest into this business. So far, I got in 2 months, I got no three almost 3 months, I got 6 listings, 2 prospects listings, and two real estate buyers. That if I wasn't a realtor, I would have just said, "Hey, I'm just gonna call a realtor and I give him business." But in this case, I can take both because I'm a realtor and a dealer. So what happened with the deal? In order to work as a business, you need to connect with the community. So you go there, you show up. Every community, every mobile home park, they have an event every month, like Halloween party or whatever party it would be every month. So you show up, you talk to people, you hand out flyers. You can never knock at the people's door in a park. All you can do, yeah, you can drive around, put the sticker on your car and say, "Hey, I buy mobile homes, I'm a dealer." Put your sign outside the house that you're selling, but you cannot knock at the door. You can expand the scope of our business because, again, we can do flips in real estate, in parks, we can move mobile homes, we can collect mobile homes, we can rent mobile homes, not in parks, but as a dealership, we can rent mobile homes versus technically, again, as an individual, you cannot do it. And the clients that are coming from mobile home, they tend to stick around way better. That's what I noticed so far in my career as a realtor. They are way more dedicated and sensitive, and as soon as the wind blows in the other direction, they are gone. Versus clients that are coming from mobile homes, they stick around because they feel that you really help them, and that's what you want to do. You really want to help them. And again, it's a great source of leads. When I post my stuff on Facebook, for example, I got 3,472 clicks in one of my mobile home listings. And that's where the two real estate deals are coming from. So I am more than happy to invest my time in responding to all these people and see if I can help them either with a mobile home, with a manufactured house, or real estate. And say, okay, yeah, we start doing this, but then what? We must have a vision in order to run a business, to be in a business. We otherwise we're going to just be like in the same rat race that it can be no different from being an employee in a retail store. Okay, so the fact that we are realtors and that we are running a business means we need to have a vision and we need to have ideas. So what can we do with manufactured housing, with real estate, all together as a group in my organization? I want to create a fund coming from external investors from whatever source we have that wants to partner up and have access to way more deals that we can as a single individual with our own money. Why? Let's say we get 20 listings every year, each of us. I'm 100% sure that you stumble upon someone that says, "Hey, I want to sell my house for quick cash." So you can buy a house for $10,000, fix it, putting another $15,000 into it. So you are all in for $25,000 and you sell it for 50, for 40. You make 15, 20, $25,000 profit over one flip into a mobile parks, and it takes 3 to 5 months at the most. Where do you get this capital? If you're out there and you stumble upon three mobile homes, you need to spend 25 times three. Personally, I don't have right now $75,000 to invest into mobile homes. If I had 75,000, yes, I would do it. But right now I don't have it. So I'm constantly willing to partner up with someone to get investors to borrow money. But here's the catch: when you borrow money and they see that you're planning to do a mobile home flip, they all run away. All the hard money loan, they're just gone. With that being said, by having access to funds, like in every other thing, you can totally grow the business. And growing the business in this case, it means we can upgrade the license to new housing. We can develop entire communities. The thing that I've seen is that even if you borrow money, you need to be into for at least 25 to 35% of the whole project. So if you need to buy the land, move the housing, let's say the whole cost is $1 million, we need to show up with, let's say, 35% because commercial loans are 65%. So we need to show up with 350,000. If we do a decent number of flips and listings all together, we can totally get to that kind of money where we can leverage what we have and borrow even more. And if we can create a system we can duplicate this in multiple areas. Think about Pahrump. We are in Las Vegas right now. Pahrump is growing like crazy. Laughlin, all around that area. Then we can expand to Mesquite, or just to stay in Clark County. Or if we want to move outside the state in Arizona, there is plenty of business that can be made. So why I'm still talking about a brand new license? You said you can get a dealer that that is going to set up the house, and then you can sell it as a use for sure. But let's take a look at this. This is my favorite Cavco. Take a look at what they're doing. They call them park models and cabins. Other people call them tiny houses. If we stumble upon a big deal where we are actually developing a community, we cannot just go to my friend and say, "Hey, I need to buy 25 of these, put them on the lot, and then sell them as used." The financing will go off essentially. It's like go off the chart. It's like really a different game. If we have one situation, yes, we can totally do it. But if you see, like, that's the new trend. That's what people are talking about, tiny houses. We got to be a new houses Cavco dealer. Look at this, a shower outside. Let me see if I skipped one. Okay, let's look at this.
You spend any time reading the news, watching TV, you can't watch or read very long without seeing something about the affordable housing shortage or crisis. Plant is located in Rocky Mount, Virginia, and we build affordable housing. We developed a product, the Anthem series. The reason we developed the product was to attack the affordable housing shortage or crisis. This home comes out in sections. It's multiple
See, these
sections.
guys are from Fleetwood.
And one section could actually be 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and owned and occupied by a family. Another section could be 2-bedroom and 1-bath, and owned and occupied by a family.
Okay, why is this a big deal? If you see, they're talking about duplexes. For now, they are the one and only that can develop, and they are developing duplexes. So far, a manufactured housing comes up with the serial number, and the serial number is one and one only. So you can install a setup, a manufactured house with one serial number and become one property. If you want to have, for example, the casita, then you have to pull the permits, build something in the back, or bring one of the tiny houses to, again, you need to have the permits to set up another casita in the back. In this case, these are two houses. It's a duplex, and we all know it's a townhouse.
Mother-in-law quarters or something like that. You could have a young family living on one side and mom and dad on the other side. Another purpose for the home might be for an investor, a community operator, or a developer. And they might develop a piece of land and want to rent or lease each section.
As quality manager over the years, I've been asked a number of times, could we build a duplex? And for years, the answer was no. To me, the biggest benefit of building these duplex houses is you can house two separate families in a space that was conventionally taken up by the size of one house. Think of two instead of one. That's the advantage of duplexes. So it's an exciting time that under HUD code now we can build these units. We can help solve the problem for affordable housing in this country.
We believe that this product is the first of its kind to be approved by HUD in the United States of America. We know for sure that it's the first product of its type in the state of Virginia, and we are first to market.
As the HR partner here in Rocky Mount, it's super exciting for us because we are designing something that will double residential occupancy using the same footprint of one house. And that's really exciting. All industry leaders gain their success by evolving through innovation. And I think the Anthem is our answer to the housing crisis by creating something that is outside of the box that gives a homeowner, a purchaser, a retailer a wonderful product that's quality made, that gives a family part of the American dream.
And that's what we do here. Build affordable homes. We think we're part of that solution.
Team members have extraordinary pride in knowing that their hands are building something that can really be an industry game changer for retailers and homeowners alike.
It's fulfilling for our people as well as a good project for our plant. And we have a lot of people here that come in every day wanting to earn a good, solid living for their family. And now they get to do it while producing a quality home for even more families and communities.
Cavco as a whole is really focused on creating affordable housing solutions that will have a significant impact across the nation.
It's definitely an exciting time for our industry.
Pretty cool, huh? That's what I'm talking about. So think about all the things that we can do developing this stuff. Now, like I said before, the trend is about tiny houses, modular homes. We all know the difference. A mobile home is essentially built without following the HUD code, the Safety Act code. So it cannot be converted to real estate, but that doesn't mean that it cannot get the certificate of occupancy. So we can totally develop a community with that type of housing. Many of you probably already saw and already know about Boxable, and this is what Boxable is about. The house comes folded and is set up in just 1 hour. We have the facility here in North Las Vegas. The product is awesome. It comes with all the appliances. It's already set up. So they went to the lot, they arrived to the lot, they unfold the house, and it's ready to be built, to be lived in. And the beauty is that they are stackable. So you can put one on top of the other. There you go. And you can create fourplexes, sixplexes, an entire village of these houses. And that's also what we can do with our license. We can only grow. Even Tesla now is coming up with the energy efficient housing. They are already international. They come with the solar panels on top. All right. So that's what we are going to talk about. And that's why I was pulling out this information. If you want to join my dealership, you're going to get free training to get the license, free coaching to get you up and running, get listings, get deals. Then you have an additional sources of real estate leads with the manufacturer of the housing, and we can share these resources to access manufactured housing deals at any possible level. We can have the expansion and we can grow in as a business, and we want to be a part of a business model that is always needed, because we all know that affordable housing is needed all over the country. And so that's why I put this information, and that's why I was mentioning at the beginning of the webinar. I'm pulling out all this information. I want you to join my dealership and see if manufactured housing is something that it's really interesting to you. I'm assuming so, because otherwise you wouldn't be here. And on top of that, I would say, wait, there's more. Because if you are a realtor and you want to join my organization, not just for mobile homes, but for all the things that I can do, that I'm already setting up my business for, you can join me in EXP. EXP has a commission split of 80-20, capped at $8,000 if you join my organization. Otherwise, it would be $16,000. But let's do a math really fast. I gotta give away 20% of my commissions. You're crazy. Okay. All the other brokerage, I mean, not all, but most of the other brokerage that do not do a commission split, they charge $500 for a transaction fee. So let's say you do 15 deals per year. You gotta pay 15 times 5 is 7,500, right? So we are almost there at the same exact price. But not only you have access to my organization because you already have access to that independently, but you can have a shared income with the other realtors that you can eventually bring in. You don't have to, but if you bring in realtors in my organization or into EXP starting from you, that is, you are obviously part of my organization, they are still capped at $8,000. Even if you do 12 deals, 12 listings, or 12 buyers per year, it's already $6,000. So the difference, as you can see, is minimal. You have multiple resources available. I will show you EXP in detail with one of my buddies. And there is like only good things that you can talk about EXP. We have an international network where there are EXP agents all over the world. I'm originally from Italy. I can sell houses in Italy. I can sell houses in Mexico, from all over the world. So if I'm here and I have a buyer in Italy, I can totally do it. If I'm in Italy and I have a buyer from Mexico that wants to buy in Canada, I can totally do it. That's what my international network is doing. Plus, as a EXP agent, we have access to stock options. So we basically own our own brokerage. We have marketplace partnership like home buying and selling, like a mortgage title company and everything. They treat us differently, or I would say a little better, because we are EXP and we bring volume on top of all these things that, again, I don't want to be the only one talking about. So if you are interested and if you have a minimum interest in this, I will encourage you to reach out, and we're going to make a Zoom call specifically for that. So for $85 per month, you have access to KV Core, which is one of the most powerful CRM for real estate professionals. Now, if you have any other organization and you want to have access to KV Core, it will cost you $70 per month. If you are an individual that wants to join KV Core, it will cost you $500 per month. Canva Pro, which might not be much, but Canva is Canva. We all know that it's nice to have a tool like that. It will cost you $10 per month if you want to join the Pro. With the free stuff that they offer, yeah, you can do a couple of design per month, but that's about it. Versus with $85, you have included the Pro. It's already included the membership. Regus, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Regus is basically a super franchising of offices available at all the time. Now they have office rooms, they have lounges, and they have conference room. Regus, the conference room, they charge you I think about $50 per hour, something like that. And office space goes up to minimum $7 per hour, but the lounge is free. So you have a membership. If you go solo to Regus, the membership is $80 per month. It's already included in the EXP, $85 per month, plus education. We have tons and tons of hours of education available. So again, not only you join the dealership, if you also want to join me in all the real estate deals and be a part of the bigger organization, you get basically all of this for free. Because if you are doing listings or buyers representation and you do more than 12 deals per month, guys, you got to join me. There you go. So with this one, I'm going to wrap it up. I hope that I gave you enough information to think about it. So these are the best of the both worlds, real estate and manufactured housing. Please think about it and let me know. I wait for your call.